Good morning, everyone. It's a party at Patchworks. Let's get this party started. Woot woot. Hi, everyone. Good morning. This is Julie Karasek from Patchworks on this wonderful, bright and sunny Saturday morning. We have another fun virtual club for you today. And if you're not able to catch it live, for the whole thing, this is being recorded and will be also available on YouTube later today. We have lots of really fun things to share with you. And so for those of you who've never done this before, this is our Moda University program. It's our longest running club at Patchworks. What we do is we feature different fabric lines that have come in, and then we share project and inspiration with it. So, what kind of fabrics do we have to share with you today? I am going to share some of the fabrics that we have. So with our Moda University Club membership, you receive 8 fat eighths every single month. And on these 8 fat eighths, they are typically our featured fabrics, or they're a patchwork curated collection. Our first line that we have here is Country Christmas by Bunny Hill Designs. This is super cute, and we used your feedback to get this fabric line with the fun sheepies and trees on here. Really fun. It's grays and creams. And I just love, I know it's really hard to think about Christmas right now, but look at those little snowmen. They are so cute. Next, we have a beautiful selection of Lela Boutique. This here is Bloomington, which is the latest in the Lela Boutique line. Very fresh and bright and beautiful and flowery, like all of those beautiful spring flowers that we're thinking about. Here we have Catalina. Once again, with your votes, you helped us bring in the beautiful Catalina by Fig Tree. And we have these glorious peach roses here with some beautiful cherries. And then we have a grunge selection here that was curated. Isn't this just so yummy? We have some grunge dots, some solids, and grunge dots. So we are just having all sorts of beautiful fabrics that are available, and these are our new picks. Now, I know these are very cheery and bright, and some of you prefer some additional traditional fabrics. So what we did is that we put together a secondary line. Ooh, presto changeo. And we have some really fun traditional lines for those of you if you were looking at more traditional options. Of course, if you love all the fabric, we can hook you up with all of them. So I'd be more than happy to do that. We have a French general here, and I get messed up on the line every single time. So I think it's called Travacacani. No. Anyhow, it's the latest French general line. Then we have a gorgeous reproduction line here. We have a fun mashup of Minnick and Simpson. Right now is a great time to be working on those red, white, and blue quilts, and these traditional reds and blues with a little bit of tan is perfect. We have another reproduction line here with the purple. This is a Betsy Chichin. And then we have a fun alternate grunge line here, which has some neutrals as well as some red and teals. So all sorts of fun things, and I'm sure you're able to find at least one that you like. Remember, if you are a Moda University Club member, you do get to have one included with your membership every single month. And if you wanted to join now for the annual membership, you would be able to get 5 packs. So, because you'd be able to have the January, February, March, April, and May packs. So what are we going to do with our fabric today? Well, we have a lot of really fun things that we're going to share with you. And the first one that I want to share with you is this really spectacular, look at this, it's so awesome. This is a new table runner. It's called Soho from the Leko Tabletastic book. Okay, I'm going to pin it up here on back for us so that we can keep looking at it. It is so fun. So if you haven't seen it yet, Doug has this brand new book and it's called Tabletastic. We just got it in. Super awesome. He has on his Facebook site, he has a little virtual trunk show of every single table runner that's in there. And this time he did something amazing and he went ahead and he spiraled around the book. Oh my goodness, this is just so nice. It lays nice and flat. You can flip it this way. Just really stellar job. Thank you so much, Doug. So we have 20 patterns for table runners and toppers, each project in 2 colorways, great for pre-cuts and scraps. Okay, so what are pre-cuts? Pre-cuts are your jelly rolls, charm packs, layer cakes, fat quarters. Do you know what? This one we can do with a fat 1/8 pack. Isn't that exciting? I just love it. Okay, so we are going to be doing Soho, which is this one right here, and that one happens to be on page 72. So we're going to look right here and then we'll flip to show you how we put this together. How does that sound? Okay, great. So here we have a layout of how we put these together. Okay, so this is Tabletastic, and on page 72, look, I even thought ahead and put a little sticky note right there. So it's shown here with this beautiful new Three Sisters line, which is, I believe, the one coming out, and it's so, so gorgeous. And yes, we are getting it. And then I believe this is a Minnikin Simpson line. I'm not sure if this is a new or previous, but it's just so gorgeous. So you can use fat 16ths or fat 1/8. So with the fat 16th, since that's a 4.5 by 21, and that's not a cut that we cut at the store, but a fat 1/8 is a 9 by 21. So that means you'd be able to get 2, would we be able to get 2? No, we would not. We can just get one runner from each fat 1/8 pack. You are going to need 7/8 of a yard of background. Go ahead and get a yard. And then you're going to want 1/3 of a yard of binding and 1.5 yards of backing. You're going to have that 1.5 yards of backing so that you can just have one continuous yard or length of yardage, so you don't have to piece it, because with it being 20 by 46, it's a little too wide for a width of fabric. If you prefer, you can pull your binding from whatever you'd have left over from your backing fabric. So without revealing all of the secrets of the pattern, we are going to show you how to put this together. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is that we are working with a 60-degree line. So 60 degree, how am I going to be finding a 60-degree line? So if you have your Big Daddy ruler, ooh, this is one of our favorite rulers here that we have. This has the 60-degree line. Can you see that? And the 60-degree line helps us line things up. Okay, so we use this as our base. Do you see that? And so I have this pinned down. I'm not actually doing it, so it may not be perfectly aligned. We're going to pretend. We can pretend really well, right? But do you see how this is our base? And then we would cut. And we can just go ahead and use that for our cutting. So we have our, from our strip of fabric, this is for one of our rows here for our piece, we have a mirror image, which is really important when we're thinking about putting our pieces together. I'm going to bring our book back and we're going to look at the front of it again, okay? So do you see here how we have a left and a right, and a left and a right, and a left and a right. So we're going to have to make sure that we cut half of them this way and half of them this way. So your pro tip is that if you are working with a pieced fabric or a printed fabric, what you can do is you can layer your fabrics right on top of each other. And I don't have a sample to show you right now of what that might look like. So you just, if you're cutting them separately, make sure to cut half of them left and half of them right. After your pieces are cut out, you're going to be pairing them with a background. I'm not sure how easy it is to see the background here on this white base here. But what I want to show you is that as we're piecing the background pieces on, okay, so I'm going to put my hand behind it so you can see this. We have our little strips that we are putting on, and they are extending beyond our diamonds that we're piecing, okay? So what we do then is that after it's all nice and pieced, we are going to trim off these pieces so that we can then continue to the next layer. So we start with this middle piece here, we put our little strips on. We have ample room on either side. We don't need to worry about having it fussy lining up in any way. And then we come down to this next portion here, and we're going to connect the diamonds to the center one. So when we're connecting the diamonds to the center one, and I'm going to put my hand behind here so you can see this, we're lining it up with that little valley, okay? So the valley is our 1/4 inch. And so we're going to make sure we pin and we sew. And then we do the same thing on this side. When we get to the end, we're going to be putting on these oversized half rectangles. And so to get these oversized half rectangles, you can see that we have rectangles that we have positioned here, and we've drawn a line. And this is, if you have a printed background, this is where it's really important to make sure you have it the right way. If you're using solid fabric, it's a little bit less important because you don't have to worry about right and wrong side of the fabric there. So we're going to be piecing on these oversized pieces, trimming them off, and then you are going to be having pieces that look like that. So you're going to have a right and a left as you're working with them. They're going to, if you notice here, after you have these together, that there's a 1/4 inch extra here, so that after this is all pieced together, they're going to be floating. So I'm going to put the table runner on top of the board here so that you can see. You're not going to be able to see the whole thing, but we're going to see how when it comes together. Okay, let's lay it on top of here. Okay, so you can see, can you see this right here? This is floating. All right. The other thing too that's really amazing is that when we're using the sashing strips here, it not only creates a nice little visual element, but it makes piecing these things together super, super easy so that it's really forgiving and very possible to do as a beginner, and you don't need to worry about lining up some really fancy points. After you're all done, you can quilt as desired. If you are having it finished by a long armer, make sure to have a 1.5 yards full width of fabric so that it can be long armed with ease. We went ahead and we used some of our bias binding on a roll to finish that off. So that is Soho from the Tabletastic book. We have Tabletastic available, brand new in our store, and we will be featuring the Tabletastic throughout the coming months. So you are going to want to make sure to pick this up because there's some really amazing projects in store. So what else can you do? I'm going to show you a fun project that we did with the Bloomington projects, and this is not a Fat Eighth project, but it is a fun bag project. Oh, look at this. Isn't this great? For those of you who have been in club for a really long time, You may have seen this once or twice before, and I am so excited because with the Bloomington line, we have coated fabric. It's so exciting to see this. So we have gone ahead, we have it in two different ways. We have the rose dot as well as the floral on a gray background, cut in half-yard chunks, which is perfect for your next tote project. Don't worry if you are looking at making a raincoat or umbrella, we do have yardage available on the roll. But for those of you looking to make this tote bag, we've gone ahead and we've pre-cut. So this is the bag with the gray, and I knew you wanted to see what it looks like with the other fabric. So we just had to put it together. Look at this, oh, so pretty. So you are going to need a half yard of the coated fabric, a half yard of your lining fabric, just a little bit of an accent for your element of interest, and then we're going to need some webbing. So we do have webbing, cotton webbing on by the yard. We have right now very limited colors, so but we do have plenty of our natural color, and this is 100% cotton, 1 inch wide. Other things that are helpful along your way would be to have Wonder Clips. Wonder Clips we have available in the 10 pack in either red or multicolored, as well as the multicolored box of 50. So what's a Wonder Clip? If you don't know, the Wonder Clip is this really cool little clippy. And why is this important for this project? It's important for this project because this is coated, okay? And you don't want to put needle holes in coated fabric because they'll stay there forever. So you use these instead of pins when you're working with the coated fabric. It's also important when you're working with the coated fabric that you don't use a hot iron, okay? Because, well, it would melt. So you don't want to do that. And I want to make sure that you don't ruin your iron or that you don't ruin your ironing board, but most importantly, that you don't ruin your fabric. Okay, so this project is a free pattern download from the Moda Fabrics website. If you're a Moda Club member, you'll be receiving a physical copy of this with your that 8th pack. And just to recap, you need a half yard of your coated fabric, a half yard of lining, an 1/8 of a yard of binding, or if you're going to be using bias binding on a roll, go ahead and get a yard, yard and a half for that. And then a yard and a half of our cotton webbing. From each of your vinyl fabrics and lining fabrics, you're going to cut 17 by 34. And then from your binding, you're going to cut just 1 strip. So that would be 42 inches. So I mistake. You should go ahead and get a yard and a quarter at a minimum of that binding fabric if you are going to get bias binding on a roll. So as we're putting it together, we were putting some of our samples together with some solid fabric. And I'm going to pin it up on the board here. I think this is going to be the easiest way maybe to see it. I'm not sure. We can imagine, right? So we went ahead and we didn't just cut, we don't just have a 17 full width of fabric, okay? So this is, pretend this is the lining you can see here. So we took it, we took our 14 inches by 34, we folded it in half. And then what we did is that we drew a box here. Can you see that? I know it's kind of far away. Shaking ahead, no, you can't see it. So I'm going to hop around to show you. Hopping. We are high tech here at Patchworks. Okay, can you see it now? Okay, so we are going to mark this with the very specific instructions that we have in our pattern that I didn't carry with me as I came by you. So you can see that we have drawn our line and then we're going to cut it out right there. Do you see that? Okay, so that is one way to do our boxed corners. And by doing our boxed corners that way, it is really nice because what we're able to do is simply pull out on the wrong side of the fabric. And it helps having our box corner be perfectly, okay, do you see that? Perfectly lined up. So where would our wonder clips come into play? Well, if this were coated fabric, you don't want to be putting pins in there. So we would clip, 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 okay? Especially when you're working on lining up this boxed edge like this, you don't want to just go for it, because then sometimes your box corners are like that, and then you're sad because all of your beautiful bags don't look quite as professional as what they would. So, okay, so we have this all lined up. We're going to sew. We repeat on both sides. Now, you're going to do the same for the front and the back. So for this sample here, we did it front and back, even though these are both non-coated fabrics. You absolutely could do this with regular fabric all the time. If you wanted to have this be non-coated fabric, what I might recommend is taking the outer fabric and then doing some sort of interfacing in it, so that would give it a little bit more body. Now, what we're going to do is that if you look at the bag here, so we're going to look at this bag. I feel like I'm from Wisconsin. I think I am from Wisconsin. It's where my accent comes out. Bag. All right, so you are going to put your right and or your inside and outside together. See that? And this is where it's really, really, really slick. So we're going to pretend like we're doing this. Well, I guess not pretending. We are going to do this. So this is the inside here, right? Da, 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 da. So we're going to shove this on the inside. Shove is a very technical sewing term if you've never used it. So we are going to line it up. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. So you don't need to worry about doing anything fancy on the inside. We're literally lining up the seams on the outside. And then we're going to clip all the way around the outside, okay? Baste it, and then we're just binding it. Super cool. Now, if you are not a confident binder, what you can do is you can use a decorative stitch to just run on the edge of it, and it's going to be great. It's a great way to use your decorative stitches, a great way to finish the bag, and it's going to look super pretty. Then, with your webbing, you're going to cut your piece, and you're going to position it. Now, the trick about the webbing, if you've never used webbing, is to make sure to straighten it out so that there's no twists in it when you're putting the handle on, because once you sew in a twist, you can't get it out, right? You'll only do it once, but I promise you, you'll do it once before you never do it again. Okay, so you're going to make sure it's all straightened out. If you wanted to cover it with fabric, you absolutely can, but I just went ahead and used the naked stuff. I positioned it down and sewed it into place. And after you're done there, you're just going to fold this edge down. And you are ready to go. You're ready to go on a picnic. You're ready to go collect some stuff. You're ready to go on an adventure. Yeah, we're all ready to go on some adventures now. Okay, so you can have one like this and one like this. Coated fabric is $19 a yard, and we have it available in half yard pieces for $9.50 a piece. Okay, so that was fun. I think it's time for a coffee break. What do you think? I think so. So, one of my very favorite parts about Club is having coffee with all of you. So we have to do it virtually. This is one of our latest little mugs. Very fun. I love the tape measure. Really fun. I think it's $9.99 for the mug. Okay, so what else do we have to show you today? We have the quilt behind me. Let's talk about the quilt behind me. So the quilt behind me is not a new pattern, but it is from one of my very favorite books that I know all of you know and love, and many, many, many of you have. That is 12-Pack Quilts from Martingale Publishing by Barbara Groves and Mary Jacobson. Hi, Barb and Mary. So this weekend would have been Quilt Market, and we would have been hanging out with Barb and Mary, me and my sister. So, hi, Barb and Mary. This and That is this way, not this and that, this way and that way, is on page 12. And we have it done up here with Deb Strain's Cultivate Kindness line. We do have some trucks still in stock in a variety of different colors, as well as a fat stack of this beautiful fabric. We paired it with the Fig Tree Cream Solid. You could, of course, use any number of any beautiful backgrounds. This pattern is very, very fun. We have a combination of 4 patches, and then we also have some connector corners on one corner of a square that we then put together into a 4-patch so that it looks like a little candy. With the little blocks that we're making, we do have the positive and negative, so that half of the blocks have the feature 12-pack fabrics going down the center, and the other half of the blocks have the feature 12-pack fabrics on the outside. If we look back at the quilt, you will see here that we have an equal combination here of where you see here we have the beautiful floral as the outside here, and then here it is going down the center. This block, or this quilt, finishes to 60.5 by 76.5, which is a very nice size. It's an 8-inch finished block, and it goes together super quick. All of the quilts in this book are fun to put together, and I know a lot of you have made a bunch of them. So that is this particular quilt here. Okay, so what else are we going to talk about? Well, I think we should talk about our beautiful fabrics that we have available, okay? So what I'm going to do is that I am going to show you first a beautiful fat stack that we have available in our Bloomington line, and then I am going to show you all of the amazing fabrics that we have in this month. So one of the new fat stacks that we have this month is the Bloomington line. You can see that we have the great florals on gray, and then some pinks, light pinks into dark pinks, and then some beautiful greens. I love, love, love these gorgeous stripes on the diagonal here, which just give great element of interest, and then you have some nice dots. So you have large scale, some small scale, some lines, and some dots. Very, very beautiful, can make some wonderful things, and all of them would work great with any 12-pack quilts. So now I'm going to hop around, and I am going to share with you some of the new fabrics that we got in. So it's really crazy just as things start opening up and deliveries start coming, all the things that I'll be able to share with you from all sorts of different manufacturers. And this one here, so this is the Bloomington by Lela Boutique, and they're gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. We got a set of this. We have the coated fabric. Remember I told you that we did get the coated on the roll. So we have it on the roll as well as pre-cut in your half-yard pre-cuts. Some fun new substrates. This here, we don't have a fat 1/8 pack of. This is the Brightly Blooming by the Create Joy Project. And let me pull out a fabric here. I'm actually going to show you this piece. So this is the feature Floral Motif. It is digitally printed on linen here, a linen blend. It's a 70% linen, I believe, 30% cotton, or maybe the other way around. I might have to see there. And then we have it available on the 100% cotton with these two right here, as well as some beautiful coordinates. There is a gorgeous panel that came along with it. We have some panels that might be coming in July. I know that things have been floating around around, and if you've seen them elsewhere, but we do have the yardage available here for this fabric line. And before I hop to the other new fabric lines, I also want to remind you of another cool substrate that we have in, where we have the Abbey Rose beautiful rayon, which is really fun as we start thinking about spring and summer dresses and fun flowy blouses and tunics. This wears and washes incredibly well, and it is really fun to work with. This is $19.99 a yard, and the linen is $14.99 a yard. Here we have our Catalina by Fig Tree, and you can see here with the Catalina that we have some gorgeous deep blues, bright blues, some lighter blues into the more traditional Joanna palette here, but these extra bold colors just give it a bright, bold oomph, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So we have those available. And then, last to arrive to the party, we have Geometry by Janet Claire, which is a great contemporary line with nice blenders, geometric patterns, very suitable for many projects, including a lot of masculine projects. Love those fabrics. All of these are available on our website. We have them available, of course, for phone orders right now, but we have them on our website. So what I'm going to do is I have all the pre-cuts up at the front of the room that I'm going to walk you through of what we have in pre-cuts. For our pre-cuts, we have from the Catalina line, we have half-yard bundles, and this is a half-yard bundle of the whole line, and so there are more pieces in the line here. We have gotten just a tight collection, and then we have the layers, charms, jellies, and mini charms. And the mini charms are really great. Do you know that the mini charms were initially created to be swatches? They were called swatch packs, and they were initially released with patterns so that when you bought a full-size quilt pattern, you also could get the swatch set in a 2.5-inch square of the fabric line so that you could pick and choose all the different fabrics that you wanted to drool over. So if you're super sad that you're not able to touch and fondle all the fabric, the mini charm could be a really great option for you to be able to pick which pieces you would like more of. Then we have Country Christmas. So Country Christmas is the super cute Bunny Hill line, and we have the layer cake, the charm pack, the jelly, and the mini charm. Huh, who would have known last fall that when I was getting the mini charms of how useful they could be? For geometry, we have the fat quarter bundle, the layer cake, charm pack, and the jelly roll. I did forget for our Country Christmas, we had put together our own fat quarter and half-yard bundles of them. So super cute, lots of fun for those. Other fat quarter bundles that we had gotten in, we had brought in, based on some voting, some fat quarter bundles from input from you last fall. And a couple of those other ones that we have are Lakeview by Holly Taylor. We don't have any additional supporting yardage for this, but this is really a great pack to be able to work with your Holly Taylor fabrics. We have other lines available that would blend with it, and you have the great freshwater fish as well as nice cabiny views for your panels. And then we do have one Gypsy Soul fabric fat quarter stack available as well, which is just bright and cheery and has some great grunge colors in there as well. Okay, so now what we are going to do is let's take a peek at our little fun block of the month that we have. So our fun block of the month is, let me get the board for our block available as well. So this stitch happens. A special thank you to Angie for whipping hers together super quick. The stitch happens is a pattern that is included with your full Moda membership. It's available separately as well for $10, and it comes from Kelli Fannin Designs. It is a super fun, super easy project. Here we have the colors in me and my sister designs fabrics, and it is similar to the colors featured in the original cover pattern. You can of course use any fabrics that you choose if you want to do grunge, your stash. What we thought we would do as we journey through this year and break this into a segmented project is that we thought that we would feature a particular fabric designer so that you are making yours to suit your personality and your personal sewing studio. So if you like Kansas Troubles, if you like Minnikin Simpson, if you like Deb Strain, you can take all sorts of their different fabrics from through the years and meld them together to make a super fun wall hanging that suits your personality. So this has our color plan. We started it last month, and this is fat eighth friendly. So if you are a Moda Club member and you have a few stacks of coordinating fat eighth packs that you don't know what to do with, this might be a super fun project for you. So we started with the first section last month where we put the base of the sewing machine together, okay? So we talked about our layout for what fabrics we might choose, and then we put this together. This month we are working on just this chunk right here. So we're going to break it into the little chunks that she has split out for us in this particular pattern. So I'm going to show you on the board here how we did this month's program. Okay, so this is part B for cutting an assembly. So the finished part B looks like this. It may have a very low contrast with the Kansas Troubles that we used, and that actually helps achieve the blendy look that we get in the sewing machine. So the most complicated part here is this little sawtooth star here up at the top. And we're going to get started by making some little half square triangles, and that is where we take some squares. We use our quick quarter ruler, draw our lines, sew our lines, cut it apart, split them. And then we're going to make mini flying geese. And with our mini flying geese, we're going to start with rectangles and squares. We're going to draw our line, stitch from point to point, trim off our excess, and fold back so that we can have cute little units that look like this. With our sawtooth star that we have here, you can see that it is half one way and half the other way. So we're only making 2 flying geese for the top and bottom, and then we're having the side flying geese be put together with half square triangles. So to assemble each half, you'll make the half square triangles and a flying goose first, put them together, sew them together, and then put your rectangles on the side so that you then can take your one half and put it with this bottom half. And then on the bottom here, we just have 2 rows of 3 squares. So super fun, super easy. I'm going to bring the pattern up for you to see. Stitch happens. Last month we made this section. This month we made this section, okay? This is part B. Of course, if you prefer, you can go ahead and make all of it in a weekend if that is what you desire. I've started to get a few show and tell photos of some amazing works that you have put together. Okay, so now what else do I have to show you? Well, it seems like I just have everything in the world to show you. And since I can't talk to you and actually see your show and tell right now, I thought I would show you a couple more things. How does that sound? Yay! Okay, but time for another sip of coffee, so you make sure you have some coffee too. What else are you doing this weekend? Are you getting some flowers? Are you enjoying the sunshine? So fun. Okay, so I also have, this is really cute, really fun. You know, we got Sunday Picnic a while back, which is the latest really cute Stacy Eats Sue fabric line. And the panel that goes with that are these cute froggies. And they have clothes. I mean, like super cute, super fun. So I just want them to dance, you know. And then they come with a picnic basket as well. So you could have your great tote that you just made, and then you have a picnic basket with your fun stuffed animal friends. So we have a sandwich here that we put together, and watermelon, and little milk cartons. I'm hungry already just looking at this. So many fun things in this. And for the layers of the sandwich, we even have like all the things so that we can play putting this together. And how great is that? You know, I loved my play kitchen when I was growing up by being able to put all the things in there. And then we have some play plates and some napkins and then a great basket. So while the project itself is a little bit more detail oriented, so it might not be completely appropriate for working with your youngin', it'll be great for it to play with them. So this particular panel, I'm going to come around to the other side so you can see it. It's an ample printed panel that is giant. So that's why this panel costs more. Okay, so it is wide and it is 2 yards. So it is 60 by 72. Look at all that. Isn't that great? So you can, of course, it's intended to be stuffed, but if you have some other creative concept in mind, you could have a lot of really great fussy cut things that you could then applique on a flat quilt if that was a project that you would like instead. So we have a bunch of the yardage for Sunday Picnic available on our website for your browsing. All right, so we have had so much fun today. Really thank you for joining me. We are going to be calling you, and feel free to call us if you would like to pick out your Fat Eighth packs. Let's do a quick recap of our Fat Eighth packs just so that you know what your options are, and we'll see if we can find them. We had so much fun with all the great stuff. Oh my goodness. I'm going to just bring them out in front because we have all the fabric everywhere. All right, so we have from our options, we have our Great Spring Grunge Great Spring Grunge pack. And then we have our Fig Tree, our Bloomington, and our Country Christmas. Then, in our alternate packs, since many of you know that we have our buffet of Fat Eighth packs, and a lot of you have been asking about them, we thought we would showcase 5 of them for you. We're just going to call this a neutral grunge. Then we have a Betsy's reproduction line. We have a Minikin Simpson. We have another reproduction line. I believe this is a Joe. And then we have French General. Many, many options. You can, of course, choose them all. If you are not a member of Moda University, feel free to order Fat 8 Packs as well to play along with us. Or if you prefer, you can join us. I hope you had fun today, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Have a great day.